Alrighty, we are live with the Pronati Crow Inquisitors. A little bit of a side session here with our resident Sergio and Theo. So when we last left all y'all, the last thing that you guys did, which was 2 sessions ago, which is I think 3 days in game time, if I remember correctly. I think we've done as of now, because there was, or no, okay, so you got there. And then there was the rest of that day that you can do things. That's where we'll start, is the latter half of the, or no, because you met with the Inquisitors that day, that evening, and had dinner. And so you had we did the first session when you guys were, or the session after you, the first one we did with this second season. We had a full day of just downtime for everybody, that people were doing a couple minor things with some mini sessions and stuff. And then I think there's been 2 full days of things they've done. Yeah, so it is 3. But we'll start up with like the morning of that first of the 3 days. So yeah, what we're picking up with you guys is again that morning after the dinner with the twin Inquisitors, and kind of like, given your task. And so, the states we kind of left your 2 characters in was, Theo obviously was like gearing ready to go after Iris, because he's like, oh, this guy's a part of this cult, and he's my cousin, and I need to beat some sense into him. And then you, Sergio, I know you wanted to have an actual reunion with your family and kind of figure out like what they've been doing and get a conversation out of your brother. So let's go ahead and start with beliefs and instincts, and again, you can tailor these to what you kind of want to do in the session. So if you want to pop over to Roll20, and we'll take a look at that stuff. Okay. Start with Sergio. So when you're ready, Trevor, you can take it away.
Ooh. Okay. So for beliefs, guess I didn't finish off this one, but I want to learn more.
32 hours on Roll20.
So
nice. I've played
I'll do whatever I can in that regard.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I think I played 614 hours on Roll20, which is which is a ridiculous amount of time. But that's counting. That's every second I've been on Roll20, and a lot of times I've left it up for like when I'm doing things, and then also spent a whole lot of time prepping stuff and making maps and all that stuff. So, and I've had it for 4 years now. So
nice.
Anyway.
So yeah, I want to learn more about the order. I want to gain the Taconi Steward's recognition in the sainthood. I will start by building a base of respectability and discussing the concept with notable religious figures. And it is good to be home. I will reacquaint myself with Lucerda, its people, and my family.
Okay. You wanna keep all those as is?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
sounds good. Yeah, I have some ideas for especially belief number 2, as to what we can do with some of that stuff this session. So, because that's one of the beliefs that you haven't done at all yet, and I know it's interesting to your
really
character. So
chance yet.
yeah. So, what are your instincts? Oh, that's
no one thinks they are evil.
Oh, that's good.
If I see someone in trouble, then I have to help them. And I always have food on hand to share with others.
Okay, so as much as I like Instinct 1, and I like that Sergio thinks that, it's not actually an instinct in the Burning Wheel rules. It should be, like, there's a way to word that where it could be, but What does Sergio do because of that belief? Does, if he always treats people a certain way because of it, or he never does something because of it, because that's not a thing that you do. It's just a thing you believe.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Well, share it.
I was like imagining my battle with Iris, and I'm like Obi-Wan, and he's like Anakin. And he's like, I loved you. I loved you, Iris.
I loved you like a brother, even though you're like my cousin.
Brother, except you were like my cousin.
Don't worry, my friend. We'll get to that.
It's over, Iris. Try the high ground. You underestimate my power.
Don't try it.
Your father.
I don't know. Do you have any suggestions on how I could?
Yeah. So Sergio doesn't think that anyone thinks they're evil. So it could be something along the lines of, again, like, usually beliefs would start with always, never, or if/then. So something along the lines of like, always treat people. Always give people the benefit of the doubt would be one that would kind of come off of that. Something like, never let. Let's see, if no one thinks they're evil. Never jump to the worst conclusion about someone or something like that. Yeah, either of those would probably work.
Or like always assume the best intention.
Yeah. Yep, okay. That's a good one.
If Iris ever did die, he'd have to die like on accident. Like I'm like fighting him, and I keep like I'm just like it's over, let it go. And he's like, no. And then, like, one last time, I'm like please don't. And then he runs and he just won't like stop fighting me, and he ends up like falling on his father's sword, and he dies from that.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have a very like prominent kind of like heirloom with that whole situation, and it's probably gonna be important later on. I'm really interested in the fact that Iris has now learned how to use that sword, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Or like the end of Chronicle, except that was the telekinesis movie. But
I've never seen it.
Like he's just like destroying everyone. He's like super powerful, and I'm just like, don't make me do this.
Yeah.
And then like I like pray to the gods or something to like strike him down, and I was like please stop, and I'm like I just keep yelling at him, and he's just like ignoring me, just killing people, and I'm like injured, so I can't like stop him or something. And then like I pray that he gets struck down, and all of a sudden he dies, and I'm just like crying because I had to stop him.
So since you're bringing up all this stuff, so if I remember correctly, he was like 7, right, when you left?
Yeah.
How close are you to him then? Like, did you know him really well?
Almost like a little brother.
Like a little brother. Okay.
I mean, he was always like this younger kid who I had to take care of, and it was just like a son almost.
Okay.
Like, he was more like a son to me.
Yeah. Okay, I'm down with that. Yeah, because I didn't really think about the fact that you might have a pretty close relationship. I just knew, you're cousins and stuff like that. But yeah, that's totally fine. That's cool. Okay. And so no one thinks they're evil. I always assume others have the best intention. Awesome.
I do have some beliefs that are different now since I'm
okay. Cool. And then obviously you have your traits there, but I've been up on this screen on Roll20 or on the stream for a while now, so everybody's had a chance to read them. So who's looking at them? So they're pretty straightforward for you. So okay. Theo, then let's talk about your beliefs.
I think one of my beliefs should be like I have to stop Iris, but I don't want to kill him.
Sure.
Like my intent
it's obvious.
Is not to kill him.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to replace that with
the second one? The second one is always going to be my belief. I don't like the gods, but I can use them. I can work towards increasing.
Yeah. Right.
That's always going to be.
Yeah.
And the third one can be like.
So yeah, my question would be: did you want to replace belief number 1 or belief number 3 with that?
Is Aisha even with us?
No, she's not.
I'll replace that one. I do want to think of another one.
I mean, well, she's in the city, but like, yeah, you haven't really had a chance to interact with her a whole
Yeah,
lot.
I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that one. It's kind of true, but it's
Yeah, right. It's not relevant, and that's the thing, especially with the beliefs. They change session to session, and you earn, fate and persona based on the sessions. So it's totally fine to just change it to something for the session and then change it back if you wanted to, stuff like that. So do you want to keep belief number 3? I want to try to learn seduction.
Yeah, I'm gonna change that. I don't know what to though right now.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right, instincts.
Um,
And again, feel free to change these too if you think they're not relevant anymore.
First one's still true. Second one's I think they're all pretty true still, because I still I have flashbacks,
Yeah, so if someone reminds me of my wife, if someone reminds me of my wife, I'll protect them. So I'll just have to give you more people that remind you of your wife. Just keep throwing those people at you. What's actually interesting is you're back in Lucerta, and this is where your wife lived, right? So she maybe has family in the city or friends that you both knew. That's still a possibility. So instinct number 2: trust no one. It makes one weak. Awesome. And then you've always had instinct 3: never heed danger. So it's the beginning. Traits.
I've never actually had to, because there's never been a real battle scene.
Mm-hmm.
I've always either lost. I was either protecting someone, or I lost my.
Yeah, it's one of the things with the Burning Wheel. It tends to be a very conversation-focused game, and so any battles that do happen, they're very climactic and very focused. That's not you won't just have a random battle with a guy in an alley usually.
Yeah.
So.
But I want the final battle scene between Iris and Theo to be like a.
Star Wars, don't worry. Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely.
Everyone's fighting around him, and there was circling.
Yeah, we'll probably use the fight rules for those kinds of intense battles. We mess.
I want there to be dialogue in it though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know neither of you were there when we actually tried those out, but we tried it out on your Raging Winds with Josh and Connor and Jared. And it worked pretty well. It was pretty smooth. And even just trying it for the first time, it worked. It was pretty straightforward and smooth. It was a lot less complicated than I thought it was, especially in practice. And I also have, the way it works is you set up volleys of actions like we did in the Duel of Wits, Trevor, that you were a part of. And I found cards on the internet that everyone can take these cards and lay them face down, and we can make volleys that way, and then just flip them over one at a time, and it has the different actions that you can do on it. So it's pretty straightforward and intuitive, especially on Roll20. So
sweet.
Yeah, so whenever we get into a climactic battle, we can pull those out. Theo, your traits, attractive, determined, mercantile, light blonde hair, mark of privilege, rapier wit, life is death, believer, faithful, glory hound, fearless. You're very extreme sort of person.
Yes, I am. But I am in real life an extreme person.
It's true. It's very true.
If I were ever in a battle situation, I'd probably just dive at somebody.
You would never heed danger. Yeah. I believe it. All right. So I think the first shot that we get is a servant so we're at the palace still, and you guys have just woken up, and where we got I got a montage sequence the first session after the second session of the second season where you guys weren't there. We got a montage of everybody else kind of just doing their normal morning things and doing some side things before the mission truly got started, because the plan was to have a day of downtime and then meet for have a meeting about what's the plan is for how to take down the cult and how to infiltrate them and all that stuff. And so we're waking up on the day of downtime that you guys have. And so what happens is we get the shot of a servant of the palace, dressed in the livery of the church, kind of walking down this hallway, and he stops at one of the doors and knocks on it, and we get a shot of Theo on the other side. And what is Theo doing, Adam? What's he up to? When
Am I
we
in the palace right now?
well, you're in your quarters and you're kind of like just waking up. What would Theo be doing early in the morning before he's?
What time? Like, is it before everyone's up, or? Because I was planning. I wanted to like steal a horse and.
Oh, right,
Or
right. Yeah, I think. What time would you have done that?
3 a.m.
Really? You would have just gone in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we get the
I don't know if I'm gonna like go approach him. I just want to see, like, scout out almost. Just
Oh,
kinda,
okay.
like,
So I think that's part.
go on my own.
That must be
Like,
part of the montage then. So I think we get this montage scene at the very beginning of this chapter or whatever, and we see Adam go in the middle, or Adam, we see Theo go in the middle of the night on horseback, ride into the ride to the other side of the city and start doing some scouting and like asking people like in the slums, some like in some of the dens of iniquity, like what they know about Iris, and you definitely got some information about, because he calls himself the Herald, and he's been laying low recently, but there's been rumors that he's gonna make an appearance again and have some sort of like important news, so that's definitely what you hear. And so do you just go back then after you're done? You just kind of
probably, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
guess
you had a
I don't
late
know.
night. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had a late night, but then I think so would you be sleeping still? So this is like 7 a.m. or something.
I'd probably just kind of like go to some secluded place and just kind of like watch the sunrise or something.
Okay.
Just kind of like thinking about what I would say, what I would do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like okay, how am I gonna do this? And like thinking about my life, just kind of like meditating, I guess you could say, because I've been through a lot, and I'm just like reminding myself, don't trust anyone, and then like kind of like that.
Yeah.
Maybe practice some skills or something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think then what we get instead of a person knocking on the door, we get them just kind of like walking down this hallway and then exiting out into this like garden. And it's early morning, the sun is just on the horizon, and it's it's like a brisk morning. You can see the servants' breath as they kind of like breathe out in the chill air, because it's getting on towards winter here soon. It's like in the middle of fall, and they walk out and they have this letter in their hand, and they go. They're walking down this garden path, and then the camera pans and we see Theo sitting cross-legged on this like bench in front of this like little pond, and he's like meditating, and his eyes are closed, and he's kind of like maybe muttering something under his breath or something, and then we get this and I don't think we hear what he says or really can understand, but yeah, he's muttering something, and then the servant kind of walks up behind you and then just kind of like
he like has his hand right there. It's like what do you want to know?
Well, yeah. How does Theo respond?
I just kind of like come out of it, Wait, is he trying to get my attention or something? Trying
Yeah,
to give me something?
he's like trying to get your attention. So you probably sensed like that. Yeah, there's someone behind you, and he's probably stood there for a little while, and then they cough.
What is it?
Letter for you, sir. From one of the bishops, Bishop Coll. And he kind of like hands you this letter.
Leave me.
Yes, right away, sir. And then he kind of like walks. Theo, what are you wearing? Are you wearing I don't remember. Did you pick up the Crow Inquisitors uniform that they gave you? That little like red uniform. Did you wear it?
Do you know what it looks like? Do you have what it looks like or no?
I don't offhand. I have a picture in my head, but let me see if I can find something.
Like a battle uniform or no?
Yeah, well, it's like let me see if I can find something here. It's like it's not quite like an actual uniform in the sense that like it's like a military like garb or anything like that. But it's like it has this it's not quite a robe though either. It's not like an actual like church vestment. I would think it would be kind of something along let me see if I can here we go. I'll upload this picture real quick. Something along these lines. And this is taking longer than I thought it would.
I was thinking if I can't like fight in and out, I probably wouldn't be wearing it. Like if it wasn't.
Oh yeah, you can definitely fight in it. It's not like something that's like overly cumbersome. And here we go.
Is it gonna be on messages?
It will be in. I'll just pop it on the map. So it looks kind of something like this, without the chainmail. So it's like, yeah, this like red vest and like some gloves, but simple, not quite a tabard. It has a little the symbol of the Inquisitors, which, if I remember correctly, is man, I know I made this up, but I can't remember. Yeah, so you have the symbol of the Inquisitors. I think it's probably like a little dagger or something, and then you have a crow kind of like emblazoned over it, and that's like the symbol of the Crow Inquisitors, and it's like a little patch on the breast.
I think I will wear it, but I'm not gonna wear it right now. I think I'd
Sure.
be wearing something like, okay, you know how all I can think of is, you know how in Assassin's Creed's got like that jacket where kind of like it's a light jacket, but it's kind of almost like it kind of looks like that, but it's just kind of like a light jacket.
Sure.
Like that. Kind of like that, where I'm just it's kind of like I would just wear gradually, or like something you would see, like something from Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's just like
like the lace shirt. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. So that's what we see Theo do. Do you want to open the letter then? He leaves. Yeah. So you open the letter and it says something to the effect of. I have heard interesting things about you, Theo. I would be very interested in having a conversation with you, if you would be so pleased. It's from a bishop, one of the bishops in charge of the. So the way the church works is the high priest of Ceran, which we're calling vernacularly the Pope. Is technically the bishop of the holy estate, like the palace itself, but the actual bishop in charge of the diocese of the city of Lucerta is a man named Armando Cull, and he lives on the Temple District island there, near the Temple of the Great God. Right over there. I pinged it on the map. And so he's often kind of like, or I'm sorry, Armando Cull. I'm getting confused. Armando Cull is not that man. Armando Cull is the proprietor of the Temple District. So he's not the bishop. He is. I think he is a bishop, but he doesn't really have a diocese in the sense that I'm in charge of the city. He's just in charge of these separate islands. Lucerta is kind of a crowded city religiously. You have the Pope here, and then you have the Bishop of Lucerta, and then you have the Bishop of the Grand Temple. It's this kind of a confusing little set of religious hierarchy. But yeah, so Armando Cull, and I think you maybe heard of him in passing. You're probably not very familiar with him. I mean, but you were a part of the church, remember with Nerani at one point with your wife. So you're at least passively familiar with him. But yeah, so he lives on the Temple District, and he just says on the effect, would you meet with me for a dinner at my estate, on the island, at later in the evening today.
Yeah, I'd probably do it, but I still don't trust anybody.
Oh yeah.
So is there any way I could just kind of just in case, and stick a little knife in my shoe or something?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think it would be kind of
always something that goes wrong.
Yeah. It would be kind of what am I saying? It would be kind of improper to bring your trident to the dinner because it's kind
exactly,
of it has
that's
an
what I'm saying.
expectation of being, you know, kind of a fancy, a formal sort of thing, even if it's informal technically. You know, he's still a bishop. But yeah, so you wouldn't really be expected to bring your trident. But yeah, you can definitely shove a dagger in your boot.
Never trust anyone.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we get the shot away from there, and then we get a shot of Sergio. What is Sergio doing at 7 a.m, Trevor?
In the morning, probably start with some
Devotionals?
prayer, some kind of morning prayer thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what does that look like? Because I know we've seen prayers of Dylan and Theo on here before, but like how is Sergio's like prayer and like religiosity different from maybe what we've seen so far, especially because of his background?
I don't know. What do the others look like? What do they generally do?
Well, so I mean, the religion of Lucerta in general, or the religion of Ceran in general, is a very interesting little mix of like, you know, is ancient Israelite, you know, Judaism, and you know a little bit of, you know, Catholicism, kind of all mixed up together. So it's you know, very ritualistic. Normally, you know, there's a lot of ceremony. But I mean, with your sprinkling of, you know, philosophy and meditation that you've learned from Tekoni culture, you know, yours would be a lot more in terms of like, and you can tell me what you think this might look like, but it's definitely has, you know, more of an Asian sort of spin on the religion. So it might be just as ritualistic. Like you know, we can kind of figure this out. You know, as we're figuring out the religion and stuff like that, but it might be very different rituals. So
yeah, it's probably less structured, more.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes outside for it to
Okay.
incorporate the nature part of it.
Yeah. So you're both like in the garden of the palaces then.
Oh yeah, that would work.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I guess we just get a shot of that same servant just kind of like walking along a different path in the garden and pulling out another letter and yeah. Where are you specifically? Like, what are the environs? What kind of part of the garden would attract you?
Caleb, how did you know that I would have been in front of a pond? Like I would have, but how did you know that?
I don't know. I just guessed.
I'd say probably an area thick with trees.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as much as they have in the garden. And then
Yeah, sure. So I mean, if you look on the map, there's this whole big swath of trees right over here. So yeah, it's almost like a little forested area over there. But I mean, I imagine like the gardens kind of extend outward from here all the way, you know, over to that forested area. So like the first part is probably a lot more like rock gardens and like smaller plants and like fountains and all that stuff. And then it kind of like degenerates into more and more like trees and plants and stuff like that. And maybe like Sergio goes out to like almost the wildest of the region, where the plants are barely cultivated and it just has the merest of a little path that kind of goes through these trees. Yeah, cool. So we get the shot of the servant coming up behind you as well. Are you meditating then? In a similar way? Okay. So yeah, you're in this grove of trees and he comes up behind you and What were you going to say something?
I was, and then I forgot.
I said grove of trees, I think, before you said that. What you were about to say, if that triggers anything.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, so just meditating in there.
Okay.
I don't know if the Tekoni have any kind of. They might have like a yoga part of it too.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So are you doing like some stretches then?
Could be.
Okay, cool.
It's Sergio's.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, you were part of the Monastery of the Reaching Vine, I think is what I named it. So yeah, there's maybe like a specific move called like the Reaching Vine, which is like the yoga thing, and yeah, cool. Do you have any sort of something that just came to my mind? Do you have any sort of like outward signatory of or like signal or patch or sign or whatever on your body or clothes of like being a part of that monastery? Like, do you have any sort of token that you still have from that time, or have you kind of gone back to the normal vestments of the Serrano Church?
I don't know. I might. What do you know? What they wore or what they wear?
I mean, as due to what we've just kind of figured out so far, it's you said it was unstructured, so I don't imagine they have something. They don't have anything too crazy. It's very simple robes, I think. And I don't think there's like a code of like how you're supposed to like take care of yourself. Like you're not supposed to like shave your heads or anything like that. It's kind of free and just you can have facial hair. You cannot. You can grow your hair as long as you want. Like they don't really care about that. But I think like maybe they have like a sense of simplicity about everything. So, you would maybe there's not like a specific vestment per se, but everything would just be very minimalist. And I think maybe like you'd have like dark greens and grays or something would be the colors that they would usually have. It's possible that you have some sort of ring or something that might signify it, but it's kind of up to you.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe just a wooden ring.
Yeah. Okay. So like a wooden ring, does it have any sort of engravings on it, or is it just a simple wood ring?
Could be a vine.
Yeah, I mean that would be the obvious one. Yeah, a little line inscription, kind of, and then it's actually Elvish, and it's the One Ring.
Although if it was made of wood, it would be a lot easier to expose.
Yeah. Well, that's the crazy thing is you throw it in the fire and it doesn't burn.
True.
No, I'm kidding. Anyway, okay, yeah. So I mean, we get that. Sergio's doing some yoga moves. What is he wearing in this situation?
Sorry, what was the situation?
Probably just some simple robes.
Just simple robes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And I'm trying to remember. Did the partners have any sort of signifying thing except for the coins, or was it just the coins? Do you know?
I think they always wear a coin around their neck.
Right, like a little amulet. Okay, so you have that as well then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the servant comes up behind you and just kind of like, I think maybe like you're stretching or whatever, and you can totally see him like just from your angle or whatever. He kind of like walks up to you and he says, "Pardon, Sergio. I have a message for you. Is this a convenient time?"
Oh yes, you're fine. Come on in.
Come on in.
Whatever,
Into your little grove. You have a little enclosed little grove. Yeah, he comes in and hands you this letter. He's like, this is from Bishop Armando Cull. He requires your presence, I believe.
Excellent. Do I know this bishop?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely. I don't know if he was in the position that he was when you were here last. Because it's been like dozens of years almost. Yeah. So, but you definitely know him. He was definitely, because he's about your age, and so he was in the same he was in the same circles as you. So you know what that is, and I'm sure you've heard of his promotion up to this point when you've gone back. So, I mean, one thing you do know about him is that he always seemed to be a very like anal sort of person. He always wanted to have everything kind of the way that he wanted it to be, and if it wasn't, he got very, very anxious and stuff like that. And you imagine that that's probably, he wasn't. It's not like he's necessarily a mean person or anything. It's just he's a very particular about his tastes in things. And he likes things to be a certain way. And you imagine that's probably only magnified given his authority now. It probably is a little bit more far-reaching than it was. But I think we as an audience too, we see this servant, in comparison to how he was acting with Theo, he seems a lot more comfortable around Sergio. And I think part of that is just because Sergio's just a generally friendly sort of person, but also, and Theo really isn't, because Theo's just this dark, like, stranger. But also because, this person is much more familiar with dealing with the clergy anyway, and so he knows the proper things to say. So, you're given the letter, and it's the same letter that Theo received, and so you just kind of accept it.
Cool. Yep.
Okay. Did you have anything you guys wanted to do during the morning and afternoon that was important, or did you want to skip right to the dinner?
Not too much. No.
Okay, so you're just kind of like spending your downtime just kind of chilling and preparing yourself. I'm imagining Sergio and Theo probably both do a lot more meditation and prayer and stuff like that.
Maybe just touring the grounds.
Sure.
Going on.
Yeah.
Nice walk around.
I mean, let's go ahead and say, like, so Theo, what would you be doing then?
This is downtime in between when we're actually starting to do things.
So it would be tomorrow that you would be
okay,
involved.
Cool. I didn't know if if everyone else is going out and doing stuff, Sergio's not going to be lazing
exactly
behind.
I don't know. I would probably just.
Would you stay around the garden?
Yeah, like I wouldn't until I actually do anything. I'm not going to do anything other than, like, praying and stuff like
that. Sure. So I think maybe, like, we get and some time passes, and Sergio, you're doing a round of the garden, and I mean you just happen upon Theo as he's kind of sitting in that same place, cross-legged, muttering a prayer under his breath. Do you talk to him at all, or do you just kind of like pass right by?
Hey Theo, how's it going?
I don't know. Yeah, he might initiate a conversation. Well, I mean, if he's praying to himself too, maybe just a nod.
You guys give each other the nod. Yeah. I actually, it's really interesting to me that we're doing this session with you two, and I'm realizing how different yet similar your characters are in a lot of ways. Like, you guys are doing the same things more or less, except you're doing them in very different ways and for very different reasons. It's just very interesting to me. I mean, we can just go ahead and skip then ahead to another time passage. So, how do you guys get to the Temple District? You guys just walk or take a boat? There's definitely boats that leave from around where the university is over here that go to the Temple District specifically, and especially given the situation that's happening right now with the city kind of almost on lockdown. It's definitely the safest option.
Okay. Yeah.
Would you just do that then?
District is the
two islands over here.
Okay. Yeah, that would probably be best.
Would you do that too, Theo?
All the way around the bay thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, let's just say, by coincidence, I mean, you guys are going around the same time anyway, and by coincidence, you just kind of happen upon, you just walk onto the dock, like Sergio, you walk first up onto the dock or whatever, and there's a boat, getting ready to kind of launch off, and you're getting prepared to, like, get onto it when they put the plank on to let you on, and then Theo, like, kind of walks up behind you.
Okay. Probably say hello. Hey Theo, what brings you to the Temple District today?
I'm assuming the same reason you were brought here.
Really? The bishop invited you also?
He did.
So I love that moment because it's totally a logical thing for Theo to assume that since someone else is there and he was invited, that would be the reason, but it wouldn't be logical for Sergio to assume the same. Yeah, because Sergio would be like, oh, this is just we're talking about church stuff, and Theo's like, well, I guess we must be talking about Inquisitor stuff. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so Is there much small talk as you go across by boat?
Unless he has something to say to me.
I know Theo probably wanted to initiate a conversation.
I wanted to what?
I know Theo probably won't initiate a conversation.
Yeah, I won't initiate it.
Yeah. You're just doing the dark stranger routine.
Sergio might make a comment of like, the gardens were beautiful this morning, weren't they? Like, just kind of a little, hey, I saw you. But
Yes, they were. I was gonna say, where do you see New Hadi? Have you ever visited New Hadi?
I don't think Sergio has he? No, unfortunately I haven't been out that way yet.
You ever happen to pass by there? It's like living in the temple of the gods.
Is it? Interesting.
And that has a very different meaning coming from Theo too, because he has experienced, because of his cultural background, religion in a very different way than you have. He's on under the whole like Greco-Roman, very traditional kind of like the gods are beings that kind of do their own thing, and we kind of get a glimpse of them here and now, and they have their own agendas and stuff like that. Where you're under the whole, the tradition, and you come to the gods a certain way and all this stuff. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So yeah, unless there's more conversation.
What?
Is there any more conversation between you two, or is it just a passing comment and then you just kind of continue in silence?
Probably continue in silence unless he has something else to say. I'm just kind of like, I don't have any much to say.
Yeah, you usually don't. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Not
like wonderful day.
Well, he might.
Better man. I'm just kidding.
He might push on that. The gardens there. So what generally grows in New Hadi? Do you know?
There's a flower.
Of horticulture.
There's a flower that grows at the top of a mountain where I come from.
It's a panda lily.
They call it the lotus flower.
Or that.
And it's a symbol of hope for our people. A symbol that the gods bless our lands. As long dedicated to them.
Oh man, there's so much cultural baggage in that statement, because so just a little bit of background on New Hadi. New Hadi is an imperialistic like colony that was made by the Verudians, who are like a cousin kind of culture of the Serrano, and they took over native indigenous land and made it their own in a very imperialistic sort of way. And so to say, I totally believe that Theo believes that, and that probably a lot of New Hadi people do, but like that's a very racist statement that you've just made, a very like xenophobic statement, because your people were responsible for like the mass genocide of a lot of dragon blood to get that land. And maybe Theo's not really aware of that, but that's definitely what happened.
Oh, great.
I
don't know if Sergio's aware of that either, but
I mean, he's probably aware of the history of it and stuff from his upbringing. But would he see that as a connection there?
He could. It's kind of up to you. I know, like, and when I say like a mass genocide of people, it's not like it was a news article like, oh, the New Hadi are killing dragon blood left and right. Like it was a largely untouched corner of the world when they kind of came to there, and they just expanded and colonized, and the dragon bloods got in the way, and so they killed a lot of them, and it wasn't necessarily a thing that was largely publicized or talked about. So
okay, no, he probably wouldn't mention anything.
Yeah. Adam, I love how you just like you didn't ask me like, hey, what grows in that region? You're just like, lotus flower, boom, got it. Let's do this. That's awesome. This has been one of my favorite sessions so far. Anyway, so we pull up into the temple